Hello everybody, and welcome to my very first video series on YouTube. And it's going to be of a Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire Wedlocke. Now, a Wedlocke, if you're not sure what it is, you can check the description for a fully detailed guide on all of the rules and anything you will need to know. And everybody's seen the intro to this game, so I'm just going to get straight into who I am, because this is my first series. Nobody knows who I am. My name is Jarrett, personally, but I go by the name Chroma online. And it's the name I've used for pretty much anything I've ever done. And the reason I wanted to start doing YouTube is I do these Wedlocke challenges a lot in my personal time. And the only person I've ever really seen make a really good Wedlocke, and what I mean by good is where the person believes the Pokemon are real, and it adds true meaning and feeling to it, and actually forms bonds with those Pokemon. And the only person I've ever seen able to do that and actually mean it is the YouTuber Maryland, who created it. And I've always wanted to watch somebody else do something when I've seen all of his. I want to see something that has that same feeling in it, and I've always felt that way with Pokemon. I've always been really into it and just try to make it as real as possible, and it's really fun. And I've done a lot of these, and I've always wanted to do a YouTube series of it. So I normally play as the boy always, and I play as the girl when I play X and Y for obvious reasons. But since this is my first ever YouTube series, I'm going to play as the boy, and I'm going to play as myself, Chroma, and that will be the character for this series. Now, I'm going to go into a little bit of the rules, in case you don't want to watch that video right away. Since we've all seen the intro, I don't really need to go through it. First off, if you hear any noise in the background at all, that's my puppies, and just try to ignore them. I try to keep them quiet, but it's not anything really disruptive. So, first off, the rules: you must nickname all Pokemon. That's for a regular Nuzlocke and a Wedlocke. And what I'm going to be doing is using a nicknaming theme. I've always done that, and I think it adds, it's just more fun. And the naming theme is going to be trees for males and flowers for females. And I think that'll be a pretty fun naming theme. Another thing that I'll be playing with is Shiny Claws. I don't think I'm going to have to activate this because my luck with shiny Pokemon is really bad. And I will be playing with Dupe's Claws, which means any Pokemon that I've already caught in that species. So that means if I catch a Seedot, that means I cannot catch a Nuzleaf or a Shiftry if that were to become available to me. That counter does not count, and I move on to the next one. Gift Pokemon will be allowed. That means this applies to the Fossil, the Cosplay Pikachu, the Wynot Egg, the Cast Form, and the Latios, or Latios if you were playing Alpha Sapphire. I don't know if I'll use the Latios or Latios, but if it comes down to it, I might. And another thing is how I normally do starter Pokemon. I got this idea from Maryland, how I got a lot of my ideas from. The last number of my ID will determine my starter Pokemon. If it's 1, 2, or 3, it'll be the Grass type. If it's 4, 5, or 6, it'll be Torchic. And if it's 7, 8, or 9, it will be Mudkip. Now, the first ever Wedlocke I ever did was on Pokemon Omega on Pokemon Omega Ruby, and I did start with Mudkip. So I'm hoping we don't get to this time. That's actually the wrong thing, but I'm going to put fast on. And we will be starting with, it'll be Mudkip. Okay. I didn't want to, but that's fine. I was thinking of, normally when I play through a Wedlocke or Nuzlocke, I play with a clause I made myself called Previous Game Clause, which prohibits me from using any Pokemon that I used on my final team, which the Mudkip was on my final team in Omega Ruby Wedlocke I did. However, since this is my first series I'm going to be doing on YouTube, I thought there would be plenty of people that like Mudkip or one of the other Pokemon I used and would be disappointed if I didn't. So I'm just going to be not playing with that and use whatever I get. So this first episode, my plans for it are basically not to read that much. I'll read a lot of the game, but everybody's seen the beginning of the game, and it's kind of the boring part. And I kind of want to explain more about myself and the rules, because that's always fun. I'm going to be playing with extra rules to the Wedlocke and Nuzlocke. I'm going to be playing with a level limit, which is the which is going to be the highest level of the next gym leader's Pokemon, which in this case it will be 14, 16, 21, 28, 30, 35, 42, 45, and 55 for the Elite Four. Now, the 42 and 45, which is Gym 7 and 8, it is debatable whether or not I'll follow that, because the way the end of this game works is a little strange. So if I have to bend it, I'm allowed to break that if it becomes necessary. I'll also be playing with allowing myself to use 3 healing items per pair per battle, which I also didn't go into this. I just assumed you watched the video. In a Wedlocke, you play, which, say I get a male starter, the next Pokemon I must catch must be female, and those 2 Pokemon are paired for life until one of them dies, which hopefully that doesn't happen. The original Omega Ruby Wedlocke I did on my own time. I don't think I played with any of the extra rules. I played with a level limit, I think. It's been a long time. But I only had 3 deaths, and hopefully I can do a little bit better than that, but I know the viewers sometimes like to see deaths, so whatever happens, happens. And another rule I'll be playing with is I must fight every trainer in the game. If a trainer is hidden behind an HM or in an out of a way area, they may be skipped, but if I have the HM taught, they must be fought. Meaning, if I have the move Strength, which is necessary for completion, then I have to fight anybody behind Strength. And if I say I have the HM cut, but nobody has it taught, because you don't need it to complete the game, then I don't have to teach it just to fight those trainers. I might. That's up to me. And another rule I was thinking about playing with would be all legendaries must be defeated. Now, in this game it doesn't really apply as much, because the only legendary that you have to fight, well, the only legendary in the game is Groudon or Kyogre, which you have to fight anyway. However, there is Regice, Registeel, and Regirock, and I was thinking, the likelihood I have Relicanth and Wailord, which will let me access them, is very low. So if it gets to the point, I like to do side quests, and I think it would be fun to force myself to fight all 3. Depending on what the viewers think, I might allow myself to catch a Relicanth and Wailord just for the purpose of defeating those 3 legendaries. I think they'd make for fun episodes, and just depends on what you guys think. So I'm going to stop talking, because it's time to get our starter Pokemon. And here's Professor Birch being chased by a Poochyena. I couldn't remember what it was. It's Zigzagoon and Emerald. Also, if I didn't mention this, but my favorite Pokemon games of all time are Pokemon Emerald, and these are the remakes, so I thought they'd be fun to play on. And it's been quite a while since I played them, so if you don't know me, I don't know why I was gonna say if you don't know me. My favorite Pokemon of all time is Blaziken, and I would like to use Blaziken. However, my ID determines that we will be choosing Mudkip, the water type. So let's get going. And while we fight this Poochyena, I will also be going over something else that I think would be a cool idea. Now, Mega Evolution, as of this point, is not allowed. I don't allow that because it makes the game, a lot easier. And the experience share is also not allowed. I may allow it for dedicated training sessions, but I'm not allowing it during normal play. But my idea with Mega Evolution is that it's not allowed, and I tossed around this idea of allowing it, so let me know in the comments what you think of this clause idea. I call it the Mega Evolution clause, and it's kind of simple. If you use Mega Evolution, you have to use it on the very first turn of that fight, and that Pokemon is stuck in battle and not allowed to switch to its partner until the fight is over or it dies. And the 3 healing items that are given to that pair is dropped to 1, and if that Pokemon dies, the other Pokemon only has that 1 healing item. It does not go back to 3. So it's kind of a bigger risk for the power if you so choose. And it's a lot riskier, and even if I played with that, I don't see myself using that clause at all. I just wanted to see what other people would think about it, because I've personally never really used Mega Evolution because I do a lot of these challenges and I never allow it, so I thought it would be kind of fun. However, my nickname theme is going to be trees, like I said. for males and flowers for females. And this Mudkip is a male, so we're going to get our very first partner. And I'm going to consult my list, and I'll be right back. Alright, I looked at my list, and, you know, it's kind of different, but I've got a pretty big list of trees. But since we got our first Pokemon from Birch, let's name this Mudkip Birch. That's different, I suppose. It's kind of odd, but it's one of the names that I wrote down. So he wants us. No, yes, I'll go meet your kid. I'll be talking a lot more through text. This is my first episode, so bear with me. Let's check out our Mudkip, Birch, who obviously has the ability Torrent, and it has a lonely nature. So, you know, it's good attack. I've never really used Swampert that much, so I don't remember if that's good or not. I think an attack raising nature is, but I don't like the lower defense. That can definitely be the difference or not between losing a Pokemon. But I've done these challenges quite a bit, so I've considered myself to be pretty good at them. I can honestly say I have never won a Wedlocke challenge before. They have all ended in a bad way, and I don't necessarily consider it to be my fault in most situations, but there was a couple times where I royally screwed up, and I would like this to be the first Wedlocke that I complete. I always make it to the Elite Four, but it always goes really wrong. Like in the first Omega Ruby Wedlocke I did, I made a really bad decision at Glacia, actually, and my Swampert. I actually had Swampert and Dustox as a pair up to that point, and I got a little too greedy with Quiver Dance, and my Dustox got hit with a critical hit and was taken down. And then my Swampert, I forgot all about the move. What is that attack? The ice type attack that's super effective against water types. Can't remember what it is, but yeah, just to say it turned bad there, and it went downhill from there. It got really close towards the end, but that's enough about my previous Wedlocke endeavors, or whatever. So, I'm going to try not to be too boring the first few episodes, but I should get the hang of it. Bear with me, like I said, this is my first ever YouTube series. But yeah, what I was saying about earlier about how I get into it, and I'm very passionate about it, and that's what makes me really like to watch Maryland, because like he makes his Pokemon feel like they're real, and there's, you know, a part of it, and it's just something that I'm really excited. I've done quite a bit of these challenges, and I really want to share them with other people because they're pretty fun. And if I didn't mention, the challenge doesn't officially start until I get my Pokeballs. So the only encounter we've come across so far is the one for Route 101, I believe it is, which is our Mudkip. Now, I'm gonna go head up here and fight our rival for the very first time. I'm also a very enthusiastic person, and it probably doesn't sound like it right now. Kind of shy the first episode, but here we are with our first ever rival battle. Let's talk to May. I'm also very bad at voices, but I'll do my best. Let's see. On Route 103, I found this Pokemon and this one too. Oh, hey, Chroma. What's that? Oh, my dad gave you a Pokemon as a gift, huh? Well, then why don't we go ahead and have a quick battle? I'll give you a taste of what being a trainer is really like. And it's first rival battle of Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire Wedlocke Challenge. It's going to be versus rival May, who is probably, unfortunately, one of the worst rivals of any Pokemon game, in my opinion. But she's not that bad in this game. They kind of made her a little bit better, if I recall, from Ruby and Sapphire and Emerald. But yeah, she's got a Trico because she chooses the Pokemon that is super effective against ours. I don't think it's possible to lose. Yeah, no, there's no way. That lonely nature is pretty good. Birch is pretty lonely. We need to get him a partner. I'll probably save that from next episode. Basically, the first episode, I just wanted to basically introduce who I am and get our starter Pokemon. And And Birch grew to level 7 on the first battle, which is pretty cool. And if any of you have any tips or advice, it'd be much appreciated, because I'm trying to do my best with editing. I'm trying to learn. But, also, the sidebar, I should point out, if you're wondering what the little icons are for my Pokemon, if you've never seen them before, it is actually the Pokemon Trozy art. I've always really liked the way the Trozy heads look, and I thought it'd be really cool to use on a sidebar. And they're kind of unique. I've only seen a couple people use them for a Wedlocke or Nuzlocke challenge, and I thought that would be kind of different to use. And I should also say that I'm going to have this in the description, but I give huge thanks to Maryland for tips and helping me out, and the inspiration for the sidebar, and just inspiration in general to make videos to begin with. He's been big inspiration, and if you haven't heard of him somehow, I definitely recommend checking out his Wedlocks and Nuzlocks. They're really good, and he's got quite a few of them completed. But anyways, we get the Pokedex here, and I'm going to go a little bit ahead still before I finish the first episode. And once again, sorry if I'm skipping a lot of text. It's just the beginning of the game. I'll read a lot more and try to be more humorous. This is just basically, like I said, an introduction video. So now that we got Pokeballs, the challenge has started. However, up here we've already gotten our first Pokemon. And here comes our mom, I believe. We don't get the running shoes because we already start with them, which is really nice. About Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, I liked the games. They're alright. They were, like, if you know me at all personally, I was looking forward to the remakes of 3rd Gen for so long. I broke down when they were announced on May 7th, 2014. It's been that long already, wow. But, what I was going to go into is the the Dex Nav. It's been a while since I played these games. But on the bottom screen you'll see the Dex Nav, which May will explain to us up here. But we've already gotten our encounter for this route, which is our Mudkip. And she'll explain this Dex Nav. Maryland has a really good way of doing it. The first Dex Nav encounter you get is your Dex Nav encounter. You can take it if you want, or you can pass by it. I like that idea of it. I definitely like using more unique Pokemon. Like, if I ever had the option to use something like a Ralts over a Cast Form, for example, I would normally choose Cast Form, because I love to use Pokemon that normally looked down on or aren't as used. I love the unique Pokemon like Plusle, Minun, and just the smaller things. So our Dex Nav is going to be this Zigzagoon here. And I'm just going to sneak up on it, see what it's got. Probably not going to take it, because if I can, I'd like to avoid the common derps, because I've used all of them in this game. So I'm not going to take that Zigzagoon. So how a Wedlocke works is we need a female Pokemon for Birch. So we need to get Birch a partner. So our encounter for Route 102 could possibly be a Seedot. That would be really cool, actually. That's an awesome encounter if it's female. And it is. So what a great start to this. I don't want to knock it out. So I'm going to use Water Gun. Oh, fuck. This could actually be really bad. You know what? Hopefully we just catch it right here and don't have to worry about this. That's terrible. I would hate for this to end that way. Okay, thank you for catching. Bide is nasty. I wasn't really thinking about it right then. So we need a flower nickname for our partner from Birch. So Seedot is the acorn Pokemon. And let's get a nickname for Seedot. I'll consult my list once again, and I'll be right back. I just checked my list real quick, and the first name that stood out to me, I liked, so I'm gonna go ahead and name her Buttercup. I think that's cute. Buttercup and Birch. So those are the first 2 Pokemon, and I love the fact that we got Seedot. It's different. I didn't want something like a Poochyena or Zigzagoon. I know I said I like to use the lesser used things and unique Pokemon, but I've used Zigzagoon and Poochyena so many times. I'd like to avoid it if possible. So we got a special attack raising. So we got a mild nature. Like, if you know me, I know basically everything there is to know about Pokemon, except natures. I've never sat down just to memorize all of them. If I wanted to, I probably could. I just have never been into competitive battling, so I've never actually sat down to look at all of the natures and memorize them. Especially now that you can just go into the menu and see from the color coding which one raises and lowers, or if it's neutral. So, I'm sorry if this episode was a little short or kind of boring. I just wanted, once again, explain myself and who is this guy. So, hopefully next episode will be a little bit more enjoyable for you. I'll try my best. Bear with me, like I said. So, I'll see you guys next time on Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire Wedlocke.